Hi, Dave. How are you?
George, what a privilege to be with you today and tonight or this evening, wherever you are. I'm doing great. Welcome to my office. I think in this new world, we think that technology keeps us from getting together, when in fact, I get to peek into your office, you get to peek into my office, and you can see the things behind me, and I've got to see some of the things behind you. So,
You
George, it's
bet.
great to be with you today.
Thank you, Professor Ulrich. I have to address
Dave,
you
Dave,
formally once,
Dave,
Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, I have to do that once because you're so well known, so I would say famous in China, and because of your contribution, your decades of contribution, your milestone works, you're so well known, and we're so honored to have you on the Training Master Series. Thank you.
What a privilege to join you at this time. Thank you.
Right, right. Thank you. And all the honor is ours. So, Dave, let me go through. All of us know about you a little bit, but just for our audience, would you please introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us
Yeah,
where you grew up, where you went to college, and what you studied, and tell us where you work and study now.
you bet. My family grew up in the United States. My father worked while I was growing up in Oregon, in the western part of the United States, in the Forest Service. So he worked in forestry and built campgrounds. He moved into public service in social programs. And I went to the university, Brigham Young University,
Mhm.
got married soon after I got there, or a few years later. My life is really simple. I did my graduate work at UCLA in Los Angeles, and then went to the University of Michigan in the United States. It's in the middle of the United States, and uh, and have taught there ever since. About 15 years ago, we moved from Michigan in the middle of the United States to a state called Utah, which is in more the West, and I commute back and forth to Michigan. My wife has work here, so that's our life. We have 3 kids and 10 grandkids, and we have a remarkably good life.
Great, congratulations! That's a big family. That's a big
That's a big
family.
family.
Yes, yes, yes.
I
And
will
Dave,
show you. Hang on 1 minute. There's a picture of
sure.
my family.
There you go.
There you go. That's my
Wow.
mother, who's 93, and our children and 10
Wow.
grandchildren about 6 months ago. So we're delighted with that
Wow.
family.
Wow. Congratulations. That's great. That's great. Been must be very busy, especially during holiday seasons.
Holiday season is very demanding. We happen to celebrate Christmas as our holiday, not Chinese New Year, but
Right.
it's a busy season. Busy season.
Right. Right. Dave, in China, well, you know that China has gone through many changes during the half century, past half century. In China, the opening up and reform during the past 40 years was remarkable, especially during the past 20 years. The our field of HR and learning gone through tremendous amount of changes. As I remember that the term human resources, this term appeared in China in the late 90s. So, at that time, 1992 was when Motorola University started to come into China. As a matter of fact, the Bill Wickenhorn, the founder of Motorola University, was also on the series. I interviewed him as well. And later on, and then, we try after the Y2K, the millennium, and then new words comes in, new concept methodologies and theories and practices and definitions, processes and tools all come in. For instance, competency models, team learning, learning organizations. Oh gosh, coaching, action learning, the remuneration system, compensation system, so our HR function went through from, changed our names from the personnel, from the old plan economy, from personnel to human resources. That's a huge change. So after 20 years till now it's 2021 already. So 20 years later, we found ourselves like at a crossroad again. That was a crossroad different than the past, because in the past we don't know what to do. We just copy, we just learn from the West. But now, and so many great companies in China, they have evolved, they have grown, and we found that HR, the overall general question is, we have many challenges. How can HR or learning function continuously make value to the organizations?
What a great set of questions. And you did a
I know.
brilliant job giving that history.
Thank you.
I'm old enough to live some of that history. I know
Right.
Bill Wigenhorn, and his boss was Joe Moralia. And I remember Joe Moralia at Motorola, who Bill Wigenhorn reported to, made the argument that they should open Motorola University in 1992 in China, even before they had product, because they wanted to train leaders in Chinese companies about
Right.
how to manage and how to organize and how to get work done, even before Motorola had a product, so that when they brought a product into the country a year later, they would have great success. And they did. You're lucky to have interviewed Bill Wigenhorn. He is a brilliant, brilliant colleague. And
He said that. He said that the university went first and then product second.
yeah, because they wanted to do the training. And I think what's happened is we've learned that for a company to be successful in the marketplace, there's three critical agendas you have to have. You have to have access to money. So you have to be able to invest in it. You have to have a strategy or product that customers will buy, and you have to have operational excellence. So you've got to have a product. Will customers buy our product? You've got to have the money to fund the product, and you have to have operational excellence. What companies are discovering is that underneath those three things is human capabilities, the organization, the people. Frankly, in today's world, access to financial money, cash, we can get money. It may come from China, it may come from India, it may come from Indonesia, it may come from Australia or Latin America or North America or Europe. We can create operational excellence. The technology is out there. Many companies, and many from China, Alibaba, Tencent, Huawei, are just superb at operational excellence and sharing their knowledge. And we can have good strategic agendas. We know where we're headed. The differentiator is often the organization, or what we're calling lately human capability. How do we manage our talent, our organization, and our leadership in a way that helps us manage our money, become operationally more excellent, and accomplish our strategy? And that's where I think the human capital field is heading today, is managing talent, my fingers, managing organization, my fist, and managing leadership, the combination of both talent and organization.
So there are so many challenges that we're facing, and the biggest challenge. What do you think the biggest challenge would be facing to all of the organizations in the future?
Boy, I'm not sure there's any one. You would know this in China, George, better than me. You've lived in the West, you lived in China, you would have a better sense. I think the challenge, if I were to take a very high level, so a satellite level, is creating value. Because an organization doesn't exist unless it creates value for its customers. Do I have a product or service a customer will like? Its investors. Can I create value for those who give us debt or equity? Can I create value? And the community. Can I create a reputation? And so if I were to go at a very high level, the challenge we face is not just what we do, but the value that we create because of what we do. For example, I love to do the exercise. What's the best thing human resource, L&D, or human resource, or business people can give an employee today? A sense of belief, meaning, purpose, a sense of belonging, a sense of community, relationships, an ability to become better, believe, belong, become, all the above, or none of the above. I love multiple choice tests because they make a point. What's the best thing we in HR or L&D can give an employee? Believe, become, belong, all the above. Whenever I do that poll, 70 to 80% say number 4, all the above. And I think they're wrong. The best thing I think we can give an employee is an organization that succeeds in the marketplace. Let me say that again. If my organization doesn't succeed in the marketplace with customers, with investors, with communities, there is no workplace. And so what I love to think about with HR is creating value at a high level. Let me give one other example. Somebody told me recently, Dave Ulrich said, and it's kind of silly, I'm no better than anyone else, people are our most important asset. By the way, George, you've said that. I know you've said that. My bet is 47 of your 47 guests have said that, but I don't agree with it.
Mhm.
Our people are our customers' most important asset. Let me say that
Mhm.
again. Our people are our customers' most important asset. If we don't hire, pay, and train and develop our people
Mhm.
in ways that will help customers do business with us,
Mhm.
then we're not doing a good job for our people.
Mhm.
So I think the challenge for HR or human capability is to create value with
Mhm.
customers, with investors, with communities, so
Right.
that we deliver our strategy in ways that help us succeed in the marketplace. That's a long answer.
No, actually, it's short to us. We want to hear more. The specific challenge, and Dave, you're right. The specific one of the specific challenges for us, we have learned your three leg model or the three pillar model, the SSCs, the COEs, and the HRBP, and also you developed, you upgraded the HR roles from 4 roles to 9 roles. And in 2016, you came to Shanghai and then make announcement of publicized the new 9 roles. And we're following what you have told us, because you have done a lot of serious research. And then we run into, well, I've met a lot of professionals. The COE, the SSC, they're okay, but the HRBP is so hot. So popular in China. It is one of the most popular topic among the HR field. If you talk to 10 professionals, more than 5 of them, they will tell you that the HRBP or BP, business partner, is on top of their agenda. Well, that's a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword, because they don't know what to do. HRBP is so good, and it is commonly agreed that we need to become business partner, but because they're in different industries and different lines of functions and different areas and different regional cultures, and then each HR professional, they found it hard to really make him or herself a real HRBP to be the business partner. So what I'm saying is they don't know what kind of specific tools to use to kind of to be there, and then or a measurement or standard to measure, say from 5 o'clock on down tomorrow afternoon I become a business partner, which is impossible, of course, but you know what I'm saying. So the criteria to measure to be a successful business partner, that is perplexing many Chinese many professionals. So can you tell us how to become a very successful HRBP?
The most critical thing you can do to become successful business partner in China is listen more to George Gu's workshops and attend all of his training master series. I don't have a
Thank you.
magic answer. I say that tongue in cheek, but we need to learn. We need to
Right.
learn.
Mhm.
One of the things we've recognized, and let me answer your question in 2 ways.
Mhm.
We have an HR department. That's my fist. That's the HR department. That's the organization with centers of expertise and service centers and all of the people who work in that. And we have with my fingers the individuals, the people
Mhm.
that work in HR.
Right.
On the one hand, we have to get great people. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. We've got to find the right people with the right skills about
Right.
being a business partner. On the
Right.
other hand, we've got to build a great organization.
Right.
We found in our research, and I shared it in Shanghai in 2016. By the way, I'll share the research we're going to share on May 11th. We're
Right.
announcing the latest research. So I'll give you a little bit of a preview. We found that talent matters. You've got to be good individuals. Those are my fingers. But
Mhm.
the organization or the fist matters 4 times as much for business results. So we've got to have great individuals. We've got to have the right ingredients, but they've got to come together and work well as a team.
Mhm.
And it's the ability to both have good people and good organizations. Now,
Mhm.
for the HR team, we talk about what makes a good HR department. Is it structured well? Do we have the centers of expertise, the business partners? In our latest work, we have identified 9 dimensions of a good HR function, my fist.
Mhm.
Do we have a clear purpose? Do we have a mission? Do we have customers? Do we have the right organization? Do we contribute value? Do we measure well? Do we have the right practices? Do we have the right people? Do we work well? We've measured what makes a great HR organization, and the structure is one of those 9 elements. That's part one. We need a good HR organization. And we've got this on LinkedIn. You can see it. I'll give you a place actually to refer to our latest research.
Please.
On the other hand, my fingers are what makes a good business partner. What are the skills? We did the research for 2016. We identified 9 sets of skills that an HR business partner had. We've just finished the next version of that research, 2021. We'll present it on May 11th. Everyone's welcome to attend. And go to www.rbl.net, rbl.net, and you can see how to sign up for the conference. We're going to do a morning session for Europe and the US and an evening session for China and Asia, and we're going to share the results. But let me share what we found, because we've just been public with that. We've announced it. We believe now there's 5 skills that a business partner needs to have. One, to accelerate business. A business partner needs to accelerate business outcomes. So when I, as a business partner, walk into my general manager, I don't want to talk to my general manager about my training program, my pay program, my communication program. What I want to say to my general manager is, what are the business results you're trying to achieve? What are we trying to do as a company? Financially, no question. With customers, with the community, with our strategy. What is our business? And my job in HR is to, number one, accelerate business results through advancing human capability. So I've got 2 extremes: accelerate business results through advancing human capability. By human capability, we mean 3 things. And I said it before: the talent you have, that's my fingers, the organization we have, the capabilities and culture, and the leadership. So I'll take 2 extremes: accelerate business by advancing human capability. Then we've discovered there's 3 ways to do that, 3 connecting mechanisms. One is mobilizing information. All the work that you do with Motorola, the people you talk about, the digital, the technology, all of the information signals need to be managed to connect business and human capability. So HR, your job is to mobilize information, to get information, to identify information. The other thing that makes that happen is fostering collaboration, relationships. And in the middle, now we have 3 things that drive the connection between accelerating business and advancing human capability. One is mobilize information. At the bottom is fostering collaboration. And in the middle is simplifying complexity. In the world we live in today, I assume in China, in India, in the US, in Europe, in Latin America, there is so much to do, so much complexity. How do you simplify and get guidance? How do you focus on what's necessary? So our latest research, and we'll share more of the results on May 11th, and then it will become public. We've done this in partnership with the school that Arthur Young was involved with. With Roy Gao and Arthur Young School in Shanghai. I've lost the name of the school.
Tsinghua University. Fudan University in Shanghai.
No, it's the China European University.
Oh yeah, the CEIBS, China European International
Business School. CEIBS.
Yeah.
And we've worked with them, and we have a lot of data on China. We've not analyzed it all yet. We just collected it. We have 20,000 data points. We have some data from China. But those are the 5 things. I can go deeper, the tools to help you do that. But if you're going to be a business partner, the most concrete thing I could say is start with accelerating business results. When you talk to your business leader, what are the results our business is trying to accomplish? With investors and finance, with customers, with communities, with the strategy, with the employees, obviously. And then what can we do through human capability, through our talent, organization, and leadership to make that happen? That for me is the essence. Again, we have all kinds of material, the 12 steps of business partner, but that
Mhm,
is the essence of what it means to be a good business partner, is to help accelerate business by advancing human capability.
So you mentioned this is the first role, and this is the first skills. So what are the other four skills?
Well, those are the five. The first one is accelerating business.
Right.
The second one is advancing human capability.
Oh, okay, got it.
The third one is the connection, mobilizing information. The
And
fourth one is
simplifying the
fostering collaboration, and then
collaboration.
simplifying complexity.
Got it. Those are the five. I thought they were kind of branches out.
Nope, nope,
So
they're all
okay,
those are the
they're all
five.
the same. Okay, they're all
I did
parallel.
not
Got
explain it very well.
No, you did. You did. Thank you. Those are the five basic skills. And in our HR, and right now the other question about HRBP is that we seen so many conferences, summits, and forums. There are a lot of people, professionals. They demo what they have been doing at at their own company, like Fortune 500 companies or big companies in China. I've been a HRBP. So my next question is, I mentioned earlier, but is there a criteria? How do we know that we have already successfully become HRBP, or does that I cannot claim it myself?
I love,
Or
George, your question. There in America, when you were in America, there's
right,
and I don't think they do this in China. You do a high five, you slap hands, and that means you agree with the idea.
right,
I so agree. Let me take you through what we've been working on lately that I
okay,
hope would be helpful for anyone listening in China or around the world. And let me take you through a history.
you bet.
Often in our human capital field, we wanted to benchmark. A
Mhm.
benchmark says, how am I doing? So I did a book on human measurements or human capital benchmarking. Yeah, I'm a leader and I score 8 out of 10. How do I compare with somebody else? And so we love to benchmark. What's my benchmark? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Then we move to the next level that says, let's go look at best practice. What did Motorola do? What does Tencent do? We've just published a book with Arthur Young, who was at CEIBS, who is, I think, my mentor in China. He's the person who has taught me and mentored me. I was lucky enough to be his mentor. Now he's my mentor. And Arthur Young is just out brilliant. I hope you have a chance to have him on your show and work with him.
He's very famous. No, he's very well known for his triangles in China.
Well, he should be. He was a doctoral student with where I taught. I was his advisor, and now he is my advisor. I am his student because he is teaching me. But we looked at Tencent, we looked at Alibaba, we looked at Huawei, we looked at Didi. These are incredible companies
Hmm.
who are best practices. So stage one is benchmarking. Stage two is best practice.
Hmm.
Look at all the books on your bookshelf. You showed it briefly. Look at the books on my bookshelf. We all love to write books about best practices. But here's the problem. When you benchmark, you compare yourself to somebody else.
Right.
How am I doing versus someone else? With best practice, you try to be as good as somebody else.
Hmm.
Well, we think the next step is guidance for me. What I want to do is know what will work in my company, in my situation. Benchmarking tells me how I compare. Best practice tells me who else is good. Guidance tells me what I should be doing. So for the last 16 months, my colleagues and I have worked to create what we call an organizational guidance system. Organizational guidance system, OGS.
Yeah.
Here's what we did. We started with results. We said any organization often has to accomplish 5 results. An employee result, our employees are productive, they have well being, good attitudes. Strategic results, we have a business strategy. We're trying to differentiate in the marketplace. We're trying to become more technologically literate. Customer results, our net promoter score, our customer value. Financial results, our financial profitability, our stock price. And community results, our reputation. Start with a simple idea to say, those are the results that we should measure. And if I'm going to be a business partner, I say with my business leader, and I say, employee, strategy, customer, investor, and community. What are the results my company is trying to accomplish?
Mhm.
And then I look at my business leader and say, would you like us in human resources to help you make that happen?
Mhm.
By the way, if the business leader says no, you have a bad business leader. Because the business leader is going to say, yeah, I want my employees to be productive and have joy and happiness. I want a strategy that wins in the marketplace. I want customers. I want financial results, and I want community results. And a business leader will say, yeah, human resources help make that happen. So think with me for just a minute. Think of those as 5 columns. Now think about 4 rows.
Mhm.
So we have 5 results and 4 rows. How do we in human resources help make those 5 results happen? Row number 1 is talent, our people, our workforce. What can we do to get better people into and through the organization? The second row is organization. What can we do to build a better culture, a better set of capabilities, a better set of systems? Number 3 is leadership. What can we do to make sure that our leaders are good?
Mhm.
By the way, leaders are the combination of talent and organization. They work with people and they work with organization. And row 4 is the HR department or function. What can we do in our HR department that will help make those results happen? So now I have a relatively simple matrix. I have 5 columns. These are the outcomes. And I have 4 rows: talent, organization, leadership, and HR. In those 20 cells, 5 by 4, where
Yeah.
should I invest? Where should I invest? That for me, George, is guidance. It's not benchmarking. How do I do versus Motorola? How do I do versus IBM? How do I do versus Ericsson? I just randomly picked 3 companies that you've worked with. They're all great companies.
Yeah.
How do I do? Number 2, can I copy their practice? My answer is
No.
no. Don't
No.
copy their practice. Number 3, get guidance for my practice. Find out in those 20 cells, 5 outcomes, 4 rows, where should we invest to make that happen? I'm going to go one level deeper. So
Mhm.
bear with me.
Please.
For each of those 4 rows, we've identified in the human resource area the major initiatives that companies do. So in talent, we have 10 major initiatives: hiring people, training
Mhm.
people, paying people, communicating with people,
Mhm.
managing careers, managing retention. 10 initiatives in talent.
Mhm.
In organization, we have 12 capabilities you could build: agility, innovation, efficiency, strategic clarity. There are 12 capabilities. In leadership, we have identified 6 steps to creating better leadership.
Mhm.
And in HR, the department, as I said, we have 9 dimensions of a successful HR department. So
Mhm.
now instead of 5 rows by 4, or 5 columns by 4 rows with 20 cells, we have 5 columns with 37 rows: 10 in talent, 12 in organization, 6 in leadership, and 9 in HR. Now we have 185 cells. That's almost overwhelming. But here's what's cool: it's a free tool. This is so exciting. We're giving it away. www.rbl.ai. www.rbl.ai. AI stands for artificial intelligence.
Right.
Go take a survey. It takes about 12 minutes to 13 minutes to take a survey, and you will get a report. Where should I invest in talent,
Mhm.
organization, leadership, and HR to deliver the
Mhm.
outcome that I care about?
Mhm.
Now we can begin to give you guidance,
Right.
very specific guidance. And so your question that was so well termed a long time ago was, I'm in HR. There's so many things I could focus on. Look at all these initiatives. There's 37. Look at all the podcasts you've done. You've done 47 podcasts. on training and development and careers and agility and
E-learning.
culture
Yep.
and learning and e-learning.
Coaching.
Which of those 37 initiatives should I focus on in my company? I don't want to just know how I compare with Ericsson or with IBM or with Alibaba. I don't want to just who's the best. Wow, I learned a lot about Alibaba. They're really good, or Tencent. I want to know what I should do. And www.rbl.ai with a
Yeah.
10 to 13 to 15-minute survey will give you a report. Where should I invest to get guidance about my work? So that's the work we've been trying to do to help HR professionals really create and deliver value. I'm excited about that. We're still developing the instruments and the tools. We've had 1,200 companies with over 2,000 people respond, and we're getting very, very good global results. It applies everywhere in the world.
This is overwhelming. This is, first of all, this is exciting. Thank you so much, Dave. And this is really exciting. Well, with the 5 rows, I mean, the 5 rows and
5 columns.
5 columns, 4 rows, and 37 initiatives and 5 outcomes, they call it, and 185 cells from 1,200 companies and 20,000 professionals. That's a huge amount of data to manage and
We
to
like
sort
data.
out.
We like
Yeah.
research. I know, George, you've done a master's degree at St. Cloud's and you appreciate research. You've worked in companies. I think sometimes in HR, we listen to people and they're very good to listen to. They have great ideas. But then
Right.
I love to scratch a little bit and say, show me the data. Show me the
Right.
research.
Yep.
We have research, we have data. And that
Yep.
data really gives us some insights about where we can focus and what we can focus on to get guidance about where we should be better.
I really like that Jerry Maguire thing. Show me the money and show me the data.
Oh, I like that, Jerry Maguire. Only I wish I was as rich as Jerry Maguire or as handsome as Jerry Maguire, but like you. But
Thank you.
anyway, I love the data. That in our model, it simplifies complexity by separating signal from noise, and it mobilizes information because it says of all the information that's out there, what knowledge can I use to become more productive? I just wrote a paper called "Our Job is to Make Knowledge Productive." Out of those 47 podcasts, how do I make that knowledge productive for the individual in Shanghai, for the individual in Beijing, for the individual in Hong Kong, or wherever they are listening? How do I turn the knowledge that George has with his guests into my productivity? And that's the agenda that we're trying to understand.
This is a great, to me, Dave, this is a great matrix because this is really a guidance. First of all, OGS, I read a lot of about it online and with your rbl.ai, rbl.net. I did some homework before our interview to prepare myself and also the questions. I really think it is great because it gave us, it is really a guidance because this grid tells us where we are, or you can use it as a self diagnosis tool, and then you can also use it as a future planning tool because correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, this is not only for HR, this is for business leaders as well, for all the functions.
George, when we go to HR and business leaders and we have an HR person and a business leader in the room, the business leader, we start, by the way, with results. We say to the business leader, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
I'm trying to get more revenue from targeted customers. I'm trying to change my strategy from product to service. I'm trying to increase my stock price. Would you like us in HR to help you do that? Of course. But why would I say no? Would you like guidance about where HR should invest to make that happen? And the business leader says, of course. Then we turn to HR and say, how well are you able to do that today? And they often go, well, I'm doing a training program that's very good. I read a book. I read our book, Reinventing the Organization. Tencent does a wonderful job at their community and network. So I'm going to try to copy that. And our answer is don't copy that.
Right.
Go find out for your company what works. Anyway, that's the idea. And I thank you for doing the homework. We've been writing about this for 18 months. We're still learning. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I think we're learning with as we go through this technology effort.
It is a direction that we're going, and thank you for doing all the hard work, because this grid really give us a map. I think it should also be called a guidance. A guidance is a map. I mean, it tells us where we
fact,
are.
our major chart is called the
Right.
guidance map, and it has
Oh, you call it map. Right.
red, yellow, and green. Green cells you should invest in, red cells don't invest in, and yellow a little bit. So we have a
Right.
guidance. By the way, we should have had you teach us that earlier, but that's the guidance map that we try to give.
Mhm. This is great. I also look at your video. That these are the 5 outcomes and the 37 initiatives come from, with the 10, 12, 6, and 9. So these are tell us a little bit about the RBL group. I mean,
Before I do that, I'm going to do something, George. You're not going to love me. Take your picture down and show us your bookshelf. Show me your bookshelf. You have a beautiful bookshelf.
Okay.
I bet in your 47 podcasts, we've not been able to see your bookshelf. And let me describe.
Someone will do.
Look at that beautiful bookshelf. By the way, people are looking in my office. I have a bookshelf. Oh my goodness. So here's the question. Wow,
This
George,
is my beautiful wallpaper, I call it.
Oh my goodness. I don't know.
All my jokes are
You've
there.
got 200 or 300 books. Here's the question. By the way, that was so cool. Thank you for showing us your bookshelf.
Thank you.
Which of those books is going to help us? Somebody, let's say somebody's named George, and they're the HR head for a company in China, for Haier, for Huawei. Which of all those 200 books will be the most helpful for Huawei right now?
None.
That's the question we're trying to answer, because the books are full of best practices. They're full of ideas.
Right.
But and you can put your screen back up.
Yep.
By the way, I love your shelf. I get to know you a little bit. Which of all of those books will be the most helpful for my company at this point in time? And that's what the guidance system is doing. So in Training Masters, you've done 47 or more. You're going to have 50 or 100 podcasts with people whose ideas I just so admire. And they're all good ideas, but which ones will work for me? That's the guidance question we're trying to answer.
Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out. Actually, when you told me, I was drawing this on my notebook of the grid. So it is, as a matter of fact, I can borrow yours. I can steal your grid and then put all my 47s in different spots to fill it up. But it seems like I have to do another 35 more, because I only fill for, you have 185.
Well,
and I only did 50.
Well, you're not old enough, George. I'm much older than you. So I've been around. No, we're trying to summarize research. That's my passion. That's my goal. You ask about the RBL group.
Right.
I love ideas, and I'm a professor at the university, but I love ideas that will have an impact. And so ideas with impact. We did a book with Arthur Young on organization learning decades ago. And our subtitle is Organization Learning Capability. That was the main title. Generating times generalizing ideas with impact. And I love that, ideas with impact. And so I decided to take some of the ideas I've got, and I have an incredible business partner. I have 3 partners right now. 22 years ago, Norm Smallwood. He and I have done a lot of books together. I like the ideas. He is gifted at impact. He is so good at turning knowledge into productivity and actions. And so we formed a company, the RBL Group, called based on a book, Results-Based Leadership, RBL.
Okay.
That's where the book comes from, Results-Based Leadership. And now we have 2 other partners, Ernesto Usher and Joe Hansen. Our job is to try to figure out, how do we help people solve problems in ways that are meaningful and helpful for them? And the guidance system and the HR competence research, you've just talked about 2 of our studies right now, we think are giving people ideas that they can use. And that's what we're trying to do. As are you. I don't know. I mean, the Training Master Series, your company is trying to give people ideas that hopefully they will use. The description is not just about knowledge, but it's knowledge that will help them be successful.
we during the past 10 years, we have been conducting research in management because we try to make learning or HR more value. So we always come across being asked by business leaders, is there any value for HR or learning? Does this training work? Something like, what is the value? Show me the value. Show me the value of HR. Show me the value of learning. So we were so cornered by them. So we spent last 10 years to conduct research through consulting projects, conducting research on management. On management, meaning, so this is the book that we wrote in published in 2017. The English version is not available yet. It's called The Logic of Management.
What did you find? What are the things that really could show results? I know you've had Kirkpatrick on the on your series, and there's the Phillips, but what did you? Kirkpatrick has 4 levels of impact, but what did you find? How do you measure the impact of learning?
It's not related to learning at all. It's all business. So this is a logic of management. So we went up to another dimension to come down back to HR to solve HR problems, because HR, after all, HR is a function of many departments or functions in an organization, and an organization has 20 to 30 departments. We have done a lot of projects and consulting projects, and that's normal. They have 20 departments or 30 departments. So each department, what we found out is that what we found out in management is everything is algorithm, everything is logic, and everything is business. So 3 sentences that sum it up. Everything is algorithm. So I'm going to make a presentation actually in 2 days at the ISPI conference. I'm the opening one, deep dive one. It's called performance improvement by algorithm. So that's what we have been trying to do. But all this work is because we have read all of your great works, like the earlier days, the GE workout and the HR champions. Oh gosh, thank you. Well, first of all, I want to do this. Dave, thank you so much on behalf of all the HRs. Thank you from HRs and learning professionals. Thank you for your contribution to our field. You gave us a lot of jobs and a lot of careers and a lot of expectations. We run into problems, and but along the way, you're always there. You're always ahead of us, and giving us the OGS and trying to help us, and again, to give us a guidance. So you're always there leading us. So don't be modest at this time, because you are the leader. You are the one that the beacon light ahead of us. And I deeply, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
By the way, one of the things I've learned is I've done a lot of books, and all but 2 I've co-authored, because I find working with people and my co-authors, there's many of them, like Arthur Young. We've done 2 books together. He taught me about China, and was just a wonderful mentor. Ed Lawler, Norm Smallwood, Wayne Brockbank, Dick Beatty, all the colleagues with whom I've done books have been my colleagues. And when I do books, I get to learn with them, and I learn from them about the ideas that will make a difference. And what I find in the HR field is there's so many talented and good people, George, like you. You've written books, you've got ideas, you've had experiences for over 30 years. By the way, I should also say, George, when I was in university, I was an English major. So I was an English major. But a funny story. So I was an English major. I was planning to go to law school. So this was decades ago. And I had to do my bachelor's thesis for my honors thesis. And so I decided to study the BYU English department, the English department at the school where I was. How good is the English department? Are they doing a good job? I should tell you why I'm doing that. Let me do a quick addendum. I was going to go to law school, and somebody said, take a course in what's called back then in the 70s, late 70s, organizational behavior, OB.
Yep.
In English. I took a course from a professor named Bonner Ritchie, and he changed my life. He just captivated my imagination. He said, look at all the organizations where you live. Look where you work, where you worship, where you play, the hobbies, the football, the soccer teams.
Right.
How does that organization work? And write me a paper. I ended up majoring in English and I'd submit the same paper to my English professor and to his class. For example, in British literature, there's a book called Paradise Lost by John Milton. You probably
Yep.
remember that a long time
Oh,
ago.
Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained.
Yeah. In chapter 2, Beelzebub is Satan and he's in prison. I wrote a paper about Beelzebub's use of power. Shakespeare, I wrote a paper about King Lear and how he built relationships. And I turned it into my English professor. And I turned it into my organizational behavior professor. The English professor said, that's a weird paper. The organizational behavior professor said, that's fascinating.
That's a great paper.
That's a great paper. And so Bonner got me to major in organizational behavior instead of law school. Quick story, I called my mom and dad and I said, I'm not going to go to law school. I'm going to study OB. And my mom and dad at the time said, oh, that's wonderful. Back then in English, and I know people don't speak English, so it wouldn't work well. I'll explain it. OB stands for obstetrics. It's a doctor of birth, obstetrics, a physician of obstetrics. So my mom and dad thought Dave's not going to go to law school, but he's going to go to medical school.
Medical doctor.
And I said, no, I'm going to study organizational behavior. And they said, what is that? And I said, I don't know. Anyway, Bonner convinced me to do my undergraduate thesis on the English department. How good a department is this at preparing their students? So I majored in English. My thesis was on the English department and their strengths and weaknesses. And I went to present it to the faculty. And they looked at me and said, this is a very good thesis, but it's too critical of our department. So they invited me not to major in English, but to get my degree in something else. So I have my degree in something else. So I got kicked out of the English department for doing my thesis. By the way, that's been my consumption for 40 years. I want to look at organizations. How do they operate? How do they work? All those books on your bookshelf, the books on my bookshelf. What do you do to build a better organization? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. We always want, a scholar as soon as you have done profound studies and trying to find out the regularities or the patterns on how this work, and then applies to elsewhere, throughout the world. And that's really not something that anybody can do, any scholar can do. So saying that,
I'm going to ask you a question. I know we're running out of time a little bit, but what do you hope for the HR profession in China? I want to learn from you for a minute. What do you hope the HR profession in China can do?
Right, because we have conducted research. We have come up with a business model how organization should operate. What we found out is that in management, the bottom line, the science of doing things right is really about mathematics. It doesn't have anything to do with people. People come second, things comes first. How to do things, how to arrange things in a logic, scientific way. And then, of course, but back to the real world, you have organizations there, you can fire people overnight, but this one helps give you also a guidance, something like a guidance that help you to find out what you should have done, and then pulling you back to the resonance of what the organizational, I call them management vibrations, because this is a vibrating world, and people don't exist. I mean, if you talk to astrophysics, and people don't, because we only exist 100 years, and a table only exists 500, and then they dissolve, and then they return to the nature. But things are always there. Particles are always there. So it's all mathematics. Mathematics is always there. So when we come back to organizational behavior, it is also mathematics. But in the past, we didn't find it. But right now we found it. For instance, how to double revenue of a convenience store. So it's behind its own mathematics is to guide you what to do, because every organization, their resources are limited. You have to put the resources on the key drivers. We have to come up with a driver formula or driver equation or something like that. So my advice, our advice to the HR organization, HR professionals is that in order to do HR well or learning well, you have to temporarily forget about HR a little bit, and then to study what business wants, what the business regularities or the law of management is, and then find out, because we are making contribution to the organization anyway, and every organization all the organization probably having one goal to generate profit or net profit, so what's our contribution? So that's why we call everything's a business, because every department or function have to make a business relationship with or organization in a mathematical way. So that's what we found out. So you have to come up to another dimension and come back to solve this problem. That's what we found out. But
what's really interesting, George, is when people say, Dave, can you make the major points you make in 3 statements? Here's my 3. Number 1, right. HR is not about HR. HR is about helping the company succeed in the marketplace. Yep. HR is not about HR. Number 2, HR contributes through talent, leadership, and organization. Number 3, HR for HR requires guidance. And that's the information piece. That's the algorithm. So the first one, HR, you and I have both said the same thing. You begin HR with the business. Right. What is the business? What are those outcomes? Number 2, in HR, we give talent, leadership, and organization. And number 3, I love your idea about algorithms. We can provide empirical guidance. When I finished my English degree, I decided to get a PhD. You ended up with a master's degree. I have it here. I'll show you a joke. This is my dissertation from.
Oh, that's not a joke. That's a serious dissertation.
But what's interesting is my study was on numerical taxonomy. Taxonomy is the statistics of clustering, the statistics of order. Right. So my degree is mostly in statistics and mathematics. By the way, back then it was not very popular. I'll share with you another funny story. Back then, when you did a dissertation, there was a company called University Microfilms, and they would sell your dissertation. Right. And you'd make money. For my dissertation, I made $11.85. I kept the check for 40 years. It's from 1984. I made $11.85.
Microfilms, right?
Microfilms. It's, but I love statistics. The only thing I'd add to your comment is, in the information world, they talk about structured and unstructured data. Right. Structured data solves puzzles. And that's what we're talking about. The statistics, the algorithms, the regressions, the formulas. Unstructured data explores mysteries. Right. I think in HR, we have to do both. We need the algorithm to do the structured puzzle solving. How do I double convenience cells? What's the structure? What's the algorithm? But we also have to explore mysteries. Right. That data comes from observation. It comes from seeing things others don't see. Right. I bet, George, when you walk into a store or a hotel, how long does it take you to know the employee morale, the employee experience in that hotel or in that store?
Immediately, when I come to the front desk or the plotter.
Immediately. Why? Because you've got history, you've got decades of observing. Right. I think that's the unstructured data that explores mysteries. And I think to be a good HR person, I think most HR people have not done enough with algorithms. We need the statistics. I buy that. I really agree. I like statistics. Right. But I also like qualitative data, unstructured data, observation data. And I think the combination of those two allows us in HR to really provide, and we called it in our latest model, mobilizing information. We mobilize information to make better decisions. So, this has been such a delight. I am so impressed, and I admire your idea of vibrations. By the way, I've been listening to you, so I have a page of notes from George.
I have a book of yours too.
This is my page of notes. You taught me today some things around the Training Master Series, around Motorola, around the logic of management, around algorithms. Right. My commitment is to continue to learn. And
thank you.
You have become a teacher to me. So thank you.
Well, we have learned so much from you too. And what you just said, the qualitative data is also in our book. Is what we found, and what we found out is an excellent organization have two sides. It's like the yin yang principles. One is the science of doing things right. The other one is the philosophy of treating a person, of being a person, being an employee. That's what you said. The employee, that's the experiential part.
In
One
our
is
last
more.
research, we found the skill set for HR professionals, and I shared it in Shanghai, is to navigate paradox. And you just laid out a paradox. I've got to make money and I've got to treat people well. I've got to be long-term and short-term, top down, bottom up, domestic and global. I think quantitative and qualitative. Navigating, you don't manage a paradox, that does away with it. You navigate it, you live with it, and you learn from it. So that's what we found in the last round of research that you alluded to.
Yeah. So I know we got a little bit of time left. So the HR champions, now you have the OGS, the organizational guidance system, which is superb guidance system. So as a learning professional, Dave, tell us, what do we do with your OGS comes out now? What do we do with the HR champions and the NIROs? What do we do about it?
I think we continue to build. I think sometimes people in the field say what we did before was wrong. It was good. I don't have my cell phone with me, but I bet you have a cell phone.
Yeah.
You had a cell phone 20 years ago. What kind of cell phone do you have? Oh, I
have a Huawei.
Yeah. Huawei. It's a great phone. The phone you had 20 years ago was a great phone, but it's not as good as today's. That doesn't mean it's a bad phone. It was good for its time. So I think HR Champions was a very good book in its time, but we've evolved since then. And I think we're going to continue to evolve. I remember my early phone was big and it had a stem on it and it was complicated. That's the old Motorola and some of the sat phones.
The big break, we call it the big break in China.
Yeah, okay, the big break. Well, today I have a different phone. I think we're constantly learning. In fact, the line I love to talk about is the best is yet ahead. The best is yet ahead in HR. The best is yet ahead.
You betcha.
And I hope the next generation behind us, our children, both in physical children, our children in professional, I hope we're developing the next generation. I hope somebody who's listening to this today will take ideas you've done and I've done, your books and my books, and write their books. It won't tell us our books were bad, but they're out of date.
Right.
And I think that's the work that I hope we can see the next generation.
Dave, how did the pandemic is still going on? It's not ended yet, per se. How do you predict that the pandemic will impact our field of HR learning?
One of the things I worry about is people say, I know the new normal. There's a new normal. I look at somebody who says that and I say, you must be very rich because you bought Amazon, Google, Tencent, and Alibaba stock January last year because you know the future. I don't think we know the future. I don't know what's going to happen in detail, but I think there's three principles that we'll probably see. Principle one is more personalization. I think we will worry about systems, but I think we're going to have to worry about people. I think we're going to have to care at an emotional level for the people and how they've been affected in China or in anywhere in the world. And the other part of personalization is customizing and tailoring the deal. That we don't, it's going to be very tailored to you. I don't know how you've been affected, George, with you and your loved ones, but my wife and I are living in a pretty nice house. You have a beautiful bookshelf. I should show mine. Your bookshelf.
Thank you.
Is more beautiful.
Whoa. No, yours much better. I want yours.
Well, I want yours.
We can trade.
Well, we have bookshelves. Our children are living in smaller houses. They've been affected. So personalization. Number two, I think we're going to see a new boundary of work. People talk about the hybrid organization. I think we're going to see, because of COVID and the pandemic, we can work anywhere. I'm in my office. You're in your office.
Right.
Many people listening are in their office. But there still has to be a boundary. The boundary is not the place. I think the boundary, based on where we started our discussion, is how well did you create value for a customer today? So if I'm a business leader, I go to an employee and say, what did you do today
Right.
It will create value for a customer. And if
Right.
the employee says, I don't know, then you say, I don't know if you were at work today. Because
Mhm.
every day we should be doing something, probably pretty small, that
Mhm.
connects to a customer. So, personalization, hybrid work or boundaries. And third is be able to harness uncertainty. Look at uncertainty as a gift. The fact that we don't know what's going to happen exactly, that the algorithms are not always perfect in the future, allows me to discover new opportunities,
Mhm.
experiment, try new things. So I think those three principles will apply:
Mhm.
personalization, new boundaries of work, and harnessing uncertainty.
Thank you so much. All these three principles are really guidance again for our future. Uh, and the pandemic does change the world totally. I mean, it's a reset. There's on YouTube, there's a documentary called The Reset. So if you had a chance to start all over again, what would you have done differently?
That's a great question. I love to live with, you can't live with no regrets. Mine are probably more personal. I'll go back to my family. Um, my mother, who is a great mother and a great father, my lovely children, my beautiful wife. Um, I traveled a lot. I
Hmm.
traveled a lot. I
Right.
work. I love work. I did university in 5 semesters, uh, and so I took 24 hours, 21 hours. I work a lot. I still enjoy work a lot. I may have slowed down just a little bit and enjoyed some of the journey. I'm pretty driven. I've written 30 books. I continue to work
Hmm.
almost every day is a 12-hour day now. I started this morning at 7
Wow.
a.m. where I live, and now it's 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. where I live. So, but I would probably give myself advice that I'm not taking to enjoy the moment even a little more.
Mhm.
That what advice would you give yourself?
Um, well, to balance, because
Same
right now
thing.
I'm 53, to balance because my kids are small. I started late, so and I need to get more balance to spend more time, to provide more guidance while they're growing up.
We I tried. I mean, my wife and I really worked hard to be with kids. For example, when I was growing up, we had 3 children. My wife was
Right.
doing her PhD. Every year, I would take one of my children on a business trip. So I'm spending a week in Seattle, where I know you lived
Right.
for a while.
Right.
I'd call the hotel, I'd call our church, and I'd say, I'm bringing my 7-year-old, 8-year-old son or daughter. Can
Mhm.
I find someone to watch them during the day from 8 to 5, and then 5 o'clock that evening? Or I went to Hong Kong twice. I wasn't in Beijing then, but I went to Hong Kong. I called my mother and I
Uh-huh.
said, I'm going to Hong Kong for a week. Again, I could show you a picture of my great mother,
Sure.
who's very creative and very dynamic. This is my mother at 90. Um,
Wow.
and this is
Yeah.
my mother's son. That's me. That's my son and our grandson. Uh,
Uh-huh. Wow, 4 generations.
4 generations. And I said to my mother, would you like to go to Hong Kong for a week?
Yeah.
And she said, yeah. And I said, I'll take you. And when I'm working, you've got to watch the kids. And I took my mother on 4 or 5 trips. So she
It's
would watch our
great.
children. And my wife loved it because she was home alone. She got time without the children.
Right.
And so I hope my counsel to myself and to you and others
Right.
is find ways to be with our children. Find ways to be with our children because those family relationships really do matter. And
Yep.
I thought it was fun. My mom got to visit Amsterdam and Hong Kong and Brazil and in some U.S. cities, United States cities. That was
Right.
fun for her. It was fun for my children to be with their grandmother, and then I got to spend time with my children in the evening. So
That's a great arrangement. One stone, several birds.
yeah,
As Dave, I know we're running out of time, but thank you so much. This is a great conversation. We gotta know you a lot. As a closing statement, do you have any advice to the young practitioners in our field?
the best is yet ahead. Keep focusing on the future. Keep
Hmm.
learning.
Hmm.
Again, the best advice is listen to the Training Master series. I mean, that's the obvious advice, but that's a joke. Just
Thank you.
keep
Yep.
learning, and find ways to give back. I
Yep.
really work hard, and I know you do as well, George, to give back to others.
Yep.
Because when we give back to others, we give back to ourselves. So in the process of helping ourselves grow, we've got to help others grow as well. So
Right,
that's it.
right.
George, thank you. Thank you.
Thank,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you so much too. Thank you. All the gratitude is mine. And you know, again, I mean, so many. I believe there are at least tens and thousands, not up to millions of people that have read your work in China, and they've been following you. And I'm sure when your OGS comes out, formally publicized, and then a lot of more people will be another hit in our field.
Oh, I hope people will go online and get the instrument. We're trying to give back. rbl.ai, www.rbl.ai.
Yep,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna put in. Thank you. Bye
Put it
bye.
in. Bye bye. Thank you. Have a good night or a
Yep, you too.
good day. Thank
Good
you.
day. You have a good night.